NFL, and it's from Jacksonville. His conduct last weekend was inexcusable. Now he must regain our trust and respect. That's Jaguars owner Shad Khan, and he's talking about his head coach, Urban Meyer. Meanwhile, Michael Lombardi citing two Jacksonville sources saying that there were many closed-doors meetings over the last 2 days, and none of them were about the upcoming game against the Titans. And there was a report from Mike Silver quoting an unnamed Jags player saying he has zero credibility in the stadium, and I don't know how he's going to function. How much all of this is about the video of Meyer in a bar that came out this weekend, and how much this is about something more. Bomani Jones, how did we get here, and can you see it being the end of Urban Meyer in Jacksonville 4 weeks in?
I mean, I don't know if it's the end 4 weeks in, but it's over. I mean, I don't see any reason why he even is going to have the job by the time we air this. And the reason I say that is it doesn't sound like the owner wants him to be the coach. It doesn't sound like the players want him to be the coach. It don't sound like the coach want him to be the coach. So what is the reason that he is sticking around for this other than pride at this point? You don't lose a locker room and then wind up getting it back. And the thing about this, if he hadn't have done the press availability on Monday, this probably all ultimately winds up going away. It happened on a Saturday. It was a full Sunday of NFL games. People would have gone past it, and then he stood up there looking like a sucker with his head down. And it sounds like when he talks to the team, he was looking like a sucker with his head down, and they came out of it with no respect for him. And in college, you can use power as a proxy for respect. You can't do that in the league. The people you're dealing with have to respect you. They do not respect him. He's done in this town.
Sarah Spain, same questions to you. How did we get here, and could it possibly be over for Urban Meyer in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I don't think he earns back that respect. And to Bomani's point, maybe with college players, you could BS them about what they saw with their own eyes. But to walk in there and try to convince them it was just a random girl and, you can get caught up in this. Then to throw Trevor Lawrence under the bus during his mea culpa presser and somehow involving a star rookie quarterback and making him implicit in it is unnecessary. And none of this happens in a vacuum. A lot of people are saying this is not worth losing a job over. This quote-unquote moral clause does not get put into place unless you're losing. Otherwise, you can do whatever you want as long as you bring the W's. But the problem is this is a pattern of behavior. And when you're only 4 weeks into the season, but you've already got the Tebow thing, trying to hire Chris Doyle, the unnecessary unvaccinated remarks that everybody said, that's the quiet part, don't say it out loud. Plus this, you're just wondering what's next. This is clearly someone who doesn't know how to carry himself as the face of the franchise, has lost the trust and respect of the owner and the players, and doesn't seem like he wants to be there either. So whether it's now or a couple of weeks from now, Bomani's right, it's over.
Tim Kalisha, how much of this is about the video that came out this weekend? How much is this about everything else? And do you believe it's over for Urban Meyer?
Tony, I just want to apologize to the panel. I said Urban was going to be a good head coach. It was stupid. Now I'm a distraction. But the reason I said that is because I talked to Jimmy Johnson this summer, who had him out on his boat, and he said Urban's going to be fine. He gets it. He doesn't seem to get anything. And one thing he has never gotten, even you go back to his big problem at Ohio State, and we could discuss whether how he initially handled his wide receivers coach, how that was. But once he got to the press conference stage, that's when it all falls apart. And as Bomani said, once he got up in front of that microphone and once he talked to his team about it, that's when the story starts looking ridiculous to people and you start shaking your head. And so, I think he's going to make it through the season and he's going to win some games. But, yeah, I question who, if anybody, wants him.
Oh, you do? Okay. Just to put a fine point on it, speaking of spousal abuse allegations of a position coach when he was at Ohio State, right, and how he did not report that or how he avoided it completely. He called it a blind spot, I believe. Clinton Yates, I'll bring you in here. This video of himself at a bar over the weekend, in a long week because they played the short game. They played Thursday night. So this is not that. What do you think this is, and how did we get here?
I think the video has a lot to do with it because it allowed people to point to something and say, we don't want this. I got to admit, I was very surprised to hear Shad Khan come out and say this was inexcusable. That's a pretty high mark of a word for somebody that is in a league that players do all sorts of things and they get away with it. I mean, the tone of that presser, beyond just what he said, indicated to me that he had no idea how this was going to land in Duval County alone because the people there were asking him extremely personal, intense questions, and they seemed disappointed, which was apparently surprising to him. And it was a little bit surprising to me overall. People get away with a lot in the NFL, but I don't think that Urban's going to get away with this because the folks around him just plain don't like that level of activity, whether or not you have a problem with it, as in all of us or not.
I'm almost surprised to hear you guys say that. Once again, arrests in a program, which was what was Florida had over 30 arrests when Urban Meyer was the coach there. Spousal abuse in the program and not following through on that. That's what it was in Ohio State. This is video at a bar in the midweek between 2 games. Bomani Jones?
Nah, this is an excuse. Like, this is the reason to jump on him because he really is an easy target to jump on. And he's an easy target for good reason, by the way. What I'm shocked by is that anybody here actually thinks he's going to make it all the way through the season, because the biggest thing that Urban Meyer cannot handle is losing. He couldn't handle losing preseason games. They're going to lose so many games, and it's going to beat the hell out of him, and it's already beating the hell out of him. One of them is going to say this is over. The question is going to be, can Jacksonville wait him out long enough to make him quit so that they don't have to pay him? Because he's going to want to quit.
Tim, I'll let you back in because you believe he is going to make it through the year.
I'm going to take the Bomani challenge. I think he's going to make it through the season, and it's going to be interesting to see when they win a couple of games, because it doesn't take much to compete in a division where Carson Wentz is the best, leads the best team, how all this is forgotten or if it's still playing out.
Sarah Spain.
When they going to win a couple
Yeah, I'm not
games?
sure they're going to win a couple games. I don't look at their schedule and think there's any gimmies in there. More importantly, I think, again, it doesn't matter whether your sensibilities think it's a big deal for an older gentleman and a younger woman, or a married man and a younger woman, or whatever combination is that bad. It's the pattern of behavior that at some point you have to stop believing that this guy is going to act differently than every other stop he's been at before. And maybe the Jags thought at the NFL level he could, but through the first couple weeks, this many things already, I think they're just worried about nipping in the bud before it gets worse for the franchise.
On the football field, the franchise with the second longest losing streak in NFL history. Active. It's current. You're right. Tim's got them winning. I know, rolling out 7 or 8 wins. The division is
They
still
almost beat
still in
Cincinnati.
grass.
They're coming.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.